This is the Old Gorilla Jiu-Jitsu Podcast. Welcome to the jungle.
All right, welcome to the Old Gorilla Jiu-Jitsu Podcast. Got a special guest with me today. It's my buddy Paul, blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu. Thank you for joining me, Paul.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I've been trying to get this done and get you on here for, close to a year since I started doing this.
Well, it's happening today, so.
Yeah, finally going to happen today, right? We're going to get it done. So I'm going to adjust these levels here just a little bit, make sure we can hear everything. But, man, been wanting to do this for a while, so I'm glad you finally got to sit down with me. As you can see, I've updated a couple things, added some cameras, got my little studio set up. This is my office where I work normally during the day. But I heard something the other day. I was listening to somebody talk about podcasting, and they said that only about 1 or 2%, or maybe less than that, maybe closer, or actually more than that, maybe 10% of podcasts make it to 10 episodes.
Yeah.
And then out of those people that make it to 10 episodes, only 10% make it to 20 episodes. Mm-hmm. And so I was looking it up. I was kind of looking through things, and I just wanted to see, what the stats were on podcasts. This is episode 19. So
that's good.
Yeah, I'm right there. I mean, I'll keep going, right? I don't want to quit. I was having a little pity party. I stopped podcasting for a couple months whenever I got frustrated with a couple things technically with recording equipment and all that kind of stuff. And I heard that. I was like, you know what? I'm not a quitter. I've never been a quitter.
No way.
So I want to try to keep doing this, and if I have to step it up a little bit and invest a little bit more time and effort and a little bit of money into it, then I'm going to do it. But episode 19, so I'm getting close to that, that small percentage that make it to 20 episodes. But I read today that 95% of podcasts fail in the first 6 months. And so I've been longer than 6 months. It's been right at a year since I've been doing this. I think I started last June. First episode was with John Asher, and then had Natalie and Parker and all those guys on. Mm-hmm. So I've been, just really keeping it close to me with some of my friends and people I train with at Jiu-Jitsu. So I made it past the first 6 months. So I did a little bit more looking. It said that 47% of podcasts fail in less than 3 episodes, right? So I've got close to 20 now. 90% fail around 20 episodes. Mm-hmm. And then only about 11% reach it to 50 episodes. So I've got some goals. And so I want to keep growing this and doing it. And so thank you for coming on and doing this with me.
Man, I'll come on here anytime you want me to. Anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. So because when I added the cameras and everything, I started putting the podcast on YouTube. So last week, whenever I did the podcast with John Asher and Natalie, was kind of a test episode, right? Because I didn't know how all this stuff works. It was brand new. Didn't know how to do camera. Didn't know how to do video editing or any of this stuff. The microphones and the headset and all that kind of stuff was brand new. So I was just trying to check everything out. So it was a shorter episode, about 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. But I also read today that the sweet spot for the length of an episode of a podcast is about 20 to 40 minutes. So I may want to try to keep it in that realm, because I want to, I don't want people tuning out. I want people to keep coming back and listening. So, do you listen to a lot of podcasts yourself?
A little bit. I listen to, of course, I listen to yours all the time. You know, and I listen to a couple of jiu-jitsu podcasts. And some,
Yeah. Who do you listen to jiu-jitsu wise on podcasts?
Man, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's just like some basics, some just not so much like moves, but like the thinking that goes behind it,
Yeah.
The for motivation,
Yeah, to keep you going, keep you engaged. Yeah. Cool.
Like how to keep going if you get into a little slump, how to stay positive and things like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, you're kind of like me. I started doing jiu-jitsu. I was 38, I think. 37, 38 years old. Started with John Asher, me and him doing it together. And that's the reason I did. I didn't care anything about martial arts or anything like that. When I was a kid, I wanted to do it, but I never did. Mm-hmm. And John Asher said he was doing Little Dragons karate, and he started doing kids karate and stuff, and he's wanted to try jiu-jitsu because we saw them doing jiu-jitsu after one of his karate classes. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, I'll do it with you. I don't, if you want to do it together, we'll do it together. So I started checking it out with him, and here I am 8 years later, still doing jujitsu.
Yeah.
At a purple belt. So, how did you get into jujitsu? And tell me your story about where you started and what made you get into it.
Well, it's similar to you. I mean, my daughter, she does Little Dragons,
Yeah.
and she's moved up to the kids class now.
Yeah.
And I just I wanted her to do jujitsu, and so I thought, sometimes, I mean, nothing wrong with it, but sometimes, you got the dad over here, kind of hollering at them, making sure they do things, do it right. And I thought, I bet I'd have a lot more success to get my daughter involved in it if I did it.
Yeah.
And then I seen how you and your boys are, I see how y'all connect on the mat, and I was I wanted to get the same thing with my daughter.
That's awesome.
So that's my number one goal, is for my daughter to, as a young woman nowadays, it's not always easy,
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of ways they can get in trouble, or trouble can find them. And I want to make sure she's prepared as she grows up and becomes a young woman. And you've seen her. She got blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yeah. So lost my battery or whatever. But anyway, you're talking about your daughter and
Yeah, I mean, when I first time I held her, I wanted to make sure that she knew some kind of martial arts, And as soon as I could get her in, that's what I did. I got her in Little Dragons karate, and I seen y'all guys rolling too, and I thought, man, that looks like fun. And I kind of went back and forth, I was like, I wonder if I could do that. I was, what was I? 48 now.
Yeah.
I was probably 45, 46
Yeah.
when I started, and I was kicking it around for a little while, wondering if I could even do it,
Yeah.
And I just showed up, signed up, and here we are,
Yeah, absolutely. So how old were you when you started?
I just turned 48, so maybe 45,
About 45.
late 45, early 46 maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly, I just...
Yeah. Just signed up. And did she start with you immediately when you first got to go?
No. I mean, she was 4. She went to karate when she's 4. And she did that. Of course, jiu-jitsu for kids doesn't start till she's 6.
Okay.
And so as soon as she turned 6, I at least wanted to get her, familiar with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha.
But yeah. But I love it too, just I started doing it. I just fell in love with it. It's, the brotherhood, the people you meet, man. Everybody on that mat's, man, they're good people,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're fortunate to have such a good academy to train at, where we have, like you said, the brotherhood, the camaraderie. You're prior military like me,
Yeah.
And the only other place that I've really felt that was in the military.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. What do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
It's the struggle, I think. I think that when we all get on the mat and we roll, it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult, And and if I can help you in your struggle, and you can help me in my struggle to become better in our art, that creates a bond similar to when you're in basic training, or
Yeah.
if you're out in the ocean, and working 18 hours a day,
Sure. Yeah.
those are the people closest to you at the time,
Yeah.
That's what I think's why.
Yeah.
That and we're just good, we're just good guys, you know. Good guys get along anyways, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're there just as almost as much as I am, or maybe sometimes more than I am. You know, we're showing up whenever we can train, got our kids with us and everything. And man, you're probably my number one training partner, I would say. I mean, we roll together and do drills together more than anybody else, I believe.
Well, yeah. I mean, shoot, man. I learn a lot, you know, when I roll with you and all those guys, you know.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. So, what do you think is what's the biggest impact that jiu-jitsu's made on your life?
Man, just like you said, prior military, you know, you get out, things aren't the same.
Yeah,
You know, you have that state of mind like in the military, and then all of a sudden, it doesn't match up with the civilian world. You know, and that creates a little bit of tension. That creates a little bit of you know, a little stress on your mind, you know. And so you know that helps me there. You know, it helps me when you struggle with life after the military. You can it gives you you set goals for yourself, and you just kind of you can take what bothers you, what you know that stress that you have in life, you can put it on the mat. You can give it a name.
yeah,
You know, you could put it on the mat, and you can deal with it. And you do that by rolling, with the, like I said, it's difficult. Jiu-jitsu is difficult, and if it was easy, I would quit. I wouldn't do it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but it's that difficult, that struggle. I could take my struggles in life and put it in on the mat, you know, when I'm rolling with you or some of those other guys, and then that helps me deal with it, you know.
Yeah.
It's like therapy, I guess, you know.
Yeah, I've heard that so many times. I mean, like you said, with different podcasts, I listen to Joe Rogan and Jocko, and you know. So when you say you put, you know, those troubles and stuff on the mat, what does that look like? Is that when you're rolling with somebody? Is that person now your problem that you're going to take care of?
No, it's nothing like that, you know. But you know, it's just a good positive way to deal with it, you know.
Yeah, just getting that extra energy out.
Yeah, you get out there. You're not. It's not healthy to just sit around and think about it.
Yeah,
If you can, to just lay around, you know, and just be inside your own head. If you can get it out and create some kind of outlet for it, man, that's good for you.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. Getting in there and just sweating it out and struggling and, you know, putting a lot of effort in. And I mean, those rolling sessions that we have after class, right? We're all giving, you know, everything we got, especially now that you're kind of getting saltier, man. You're harder to handle. So I have to give a little bit extra. I can't be playing too much, man. You're going to start messing me up.
Well, I'm blue belt right now. I'm kind of taking my time with it and try to get the basics down perfect, you know, as good as I can, you know, before I start to advance even further.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of taking my time with it,
Yeah.
you know, a few days a week,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah. Well, you're saying, you know, you take, you know, your troubles and you take it to the mat and you just kind of, that's where you burn that energy off from that stuff. And I burn that energy off too. If I'm feeling frustrated or annoyed or whatever's going on, I definitely feel better when I leave the mat. But also I think too, for me, it's a place where I don't have to think about anything, because the only thing I can think about is Paul is about to choke the mess out of me if I don't straighten up
man,
and
when's
get
the
my
last time
stuff
I
together.
choked you out?
It's been a while, but
Yeah, it's been a while.
because I had to think about it.
Maybe one time. It ain't been recently, you know.
Well, I definitely can't take a coffee break with you anymore.
You know.
But you guys, I mean, the thing is, if I if I'm rolling with these kids or rolling with you or rolling with Adrian or any of the guys, any of the professors, you really can't think about anything else. I mean, you're concentrating. You're not thinking about, oh man, my car has to have some type of work on it, or somebody at work has been a melon head. You can't think about any of that stuff. All you can think about is jujitsu. Everything else kind of is like, for me, it just fades into the distance.
You're absolutely right.
Gives my mind like a break to not think about that stuff. And then when I leave, it's almost like I get a rush from doing jujitsu, right? I might show up, I have a bad attitude when we're doing warm-ups or maybe drilling or whatever, but you get out there and you start sweating it out and rolling it out, and the struggle that you're in, especially if you're rolling with somebody that's better than you or somebody that can catch you if you don't watch out. Man, when I leave, most of the time I feel amped up when I'm in that parking lot, getting in my car and leaving.
Yeah. And you're right, yeah. You're not thinking about car payments or the engine light on my truck, or something like that, just it's a nice escape from the stress of life, Yeah. And it's just fun, I mean, we're like a bunch of 12-year-olds out there, we hang out, we run our mouths and make fun of each other, and
I think you and I talk the most crap to each other than anybody else.
It's always, well, we both got kind of a dark sense of humor anyways, we're kind of twisted a little bit, but it's
I saw I was watching a video of was it a video? No, somebody took a picture of you and Parker rolling last week.
Yeah.
And Parker was on top of you, and he was covering your mouth and your nose.
He was, yeah.
He was trying to smother you.
So you've been rolling with your dad too much, man. Shoot.
I was cracking up. I saw that. He told me about it later that night. I said, "You try to smother Paul?" I said, "What do you do?" He said, "He just started laughing."
Yes, man.
11-year-old on top of you trying to smother you.
The kid can roll, though.
Yeah, he can.
The boy can roll.
So we talked about how going to jiu-jitsu, is like a break, right, from your daily life. So how has jiu-jitsu affected you in your work life, right?
Oh, man. Like at work?
Yeah.
It makes me work harder.
Yeah.
There's a lot of values in jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of principles that you can take it elsewhere. You can apply it. The things you learn in jiu-jitsu, they just ain't moves or chokes or anything. It's the discipline of it, and you can take that with you and apply it in other places like your family or your job. And it makes me work harder at work. It makes me, when I go to work and I get burned out, and, I'm like, oh man, it's only 2:00, man. I still got 2 more hours, and it gives you that little extra steam to keep going till quitting time,
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, the problem-solving aspect of jiu-jitsu has helped me in my job for sure. Just because that's what you're doing when you're rolling, right? You're trying to solve a problem. Somebody's coming after you, trying to choke you. How am I going to get out of this? Or how am I going to get out of this arm bar?
Exactly.
Or how am I going to keep them from getting on top of me? So you have to kind of think on your toes and be a little bit sharper when you're doing jiu-jitsu. And so I think applying that to my job is being able to, use those critical thinking skills, switching directions quickly and coming up with a solution to a problem on the spot. And that's I think that's a good way that jiu-jitsu has definitely helped me also remain kind of calm under stress, right? Because there's nothing more stressful than a big dude laying on top of you trying to choke you, right?
Yeah.
Right. If you can deal with that, what's going to happen at work? Because nobody's trying to kill you at work, right?
Right.
But we're trying to fake kill each other, right? Until somebody taps, but we still have that ability to kill each other, and trying to survive that violence, I think it kind of changes the way your brain's wired a little bit. So whenever you do encounter something stressful at work, somebody didn't take out the trash or somebody didn't do their job appropriately or whatever. It's like, whatever.
Or that a boss just changes your direction
Yeah.
that quick. You can, you're one day, this afternoon, you got a plan, you got a job to do, you got to build a wall or whatever, at a school or something, and all of a sudden, hey, we got to stop what you're doing, go do something else,
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay. It gives you that little second step back, and all right, well, let's go do that. Let's go tackle that, and we'll,
Yeah.
instead of getting frustrated, and irritated, But
Yeah. So in your job, I don't know a whole lot about what you do in your job. Are you in any type of leadership position there? Are you like a foreman or anything?
no, I'm just a maintenance man.
Yeah.
I just fix things.
Just fix things?
Yeah, that's it, really. Show up and hang. I don't know, man. There's 100 different things they could ask you to do.
Mm-hmm.
You hang a whiteboard or pencil sharpener or build a wall. We were building a wall this week.
Yeah.
We had to. I guess they got more kids coming next year, and they got to make one room into 2 rooms and had to build a wall.
Yeah.
That took some work, and got to lay some carpet next week.
Yeah.
Replace some carpet,
Yeah.
Who knows what it is?
Yeah.
It'll be something different after that.
Yeah. Yeah. So at home, Jennifer, she has seen me do this jiu-jitsu journey for the last 8 years, coming up on 8 years. So what does Ashley think about you and you're doing jiu-jitsu and all that? I see her coming up to the school now. She never came in the beginning, but I see her up there. I've seen her a few times up there. Or at belt testing, she'll be there.
Yeah, she supports me.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it if she didn't support me.
Yeah.
If she told me that, hey, we just can't do it no more, I wouldn't be able to do it no more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that would suck. But nah, she does. I don't think she thinks one way or the other about it.
Yeah.
But she supports me because I enjoy doing it.
Yeah. Can she ever tell that you need to go do it because you're like going stir crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd come in there and sit down. I'd be on the bed sitting there, and I'd be moaning. I think I broke my toe once, and I didn't have
Doing
to say,
jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to say nothing. She's like, "All right, well, what's the injury now?" I said, "Oh man, I think I broke my toe. It's gonna hurt for about a month." And they're like, "Okay, well, all right." That was it. But
Yeah.
oh yeah, I mean, if she, I'm thankful that she does support me on it, because if she didn't,
Yeah.
there's a pretty good chance I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Jennifer, she's super supportive in that in the same way. But her big thing with me, and she's been after me ever since I started doing this. She found out what cauliflower ear is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, you better not bring home cauliflower ear. She's like,
man.
You get cauliflower, we're done. I was like, I'm not going to get cauliflower ear. So it's not going to happen.
Man, we ain't that rough.
No, we're not that rough. No, but she does not want that, man. But otherwise, I mean, there's times where she can tell that I'm just going stir crazy, right? Because I don't have anything to do, or I haven't been to jiu-jitsu in a while because, I've been sick or schedule got messed up or whatever. And she's like, you need to get out of here and go do some jiu-jitsu or something. You're driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that means she sees how good it is for you.
Yeah.
She sees the what it's doing for you and in your mind, and
Yeah. It definitely calms me down because I've got a lot of energy. I'm always doing something.
Yep.
You got to be doing something. So you mentioned Bree, as a big reason that you're doing jiu-jitsu. She's 6, and you want her to be equipped to be able to protect herself. And so, tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, I just, when I went to school, man, hate's a strong word.
Yeah.
But I hate bullies. Man,
Yeah.
I hate them.
Yeah.
Anybody who's makes it their goal in life to make someone else miserable, man, I just ain't got no use for them. And And I want to make sure that when she goes to school, when she gets into like the junior high, or when she starts getting, she has those situations in school where she's dealing with a bully, that she's able to handle it. You know? And she doesn't have to go to school terrified. And man, there's nothing worse than going to school. I don't know how much better I could have done in school if I didn't have to worry about getting my butt kicked every day.
Yeah.
Or my lunch.
Yeah.
Someone stealing half my lunch or something, or taking a secret way home so I don't get bullied,
Yeah.
And I do everything I can in this life to make sure that she doesn't have to deal with that, or any other kid in our class.
Yeah.
At that, but I'll make sure that that she can go to school, she can focus on her grades, focus on what she wants to do. Don't have to worry about
getting bullied. Yeah.
knuckleheads.
Yeah. I went through bullying. Did you go through bullying when you were a kid?
Yeah.
I did too.
Man.
I did too, big time.
When I was growing up,
I was just talking to a friend at lunch a little bit ago, and he was telling me about his son, that his experiencing some bullying, and man, I could feel it. You know, I could feel it. Yeah, yeah. And I was like, I get it, dude. And because I don't tell many people about this, and I think I've talked about it on the podcast once before, but I was bullied since probably the third grade all the way through high school.
Yeah,
I was
me too.
bullied. I mean, I was picked on, I was ridiculed, I was called names, I was beat up, I was punched, everything you can imagine, for 10 years probably.
Yeah.
And so I have a huge heart for these kids that may be going through that. It's like you said, why spend all your time and your effort to make somebody else miserable? Why would you do that? And I think I didn't choose for jiu-jitsu to be, this thing that I do because I was bullied, but I do think a part of the reason that I started doing jiu-jitsu is because I feel like if something ever happened like that again, I could take care of myself.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I could take care of if it happened to my wife, I could protect my wife. If it happened to my kids, I could take care of them. But my kids doing it, I feel like they can take care of themselves. Right. And we've had a lot of long talks about bullying and, defending themselves and what's allowed and what's not allowed. And even to the point where I'm like, if you see another kid being bullied and you're witnessing it, you need to stop it. And you can use your jiu-jitsu to do that. You can use your physical body to go stop that. Do I want you to hurt that person? No, control them. Find somebody that will take care of it, but do something about it. Don't just sit back, know? And I think that burns me up, hearing even that you were bullied when you were a kid,
Yeah, man, that stirs up feelings, man. And
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't care why.
Yeah.
Why they do the bullying. I don't care what the problem is at home. I just hate them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But
and a lot of times those kids that are doing that stuff, they're probably getting it at home too.
Probably.
Their parents or somebody's bullying them. And so they're just finding an outlet to do the same thing to somebody else because I guess it maybe makes them feel better or something. I don't know.
Who knows?
I have no idea.
Man, who knows?
It's not right either way.
So and a lot of times they have no option but to defend themselves because they may not get supported at the school or wherever it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like I said, I tell my daughter, I said, look, man, you get in trouble at school for defending yourself. Man, you come on home, you're going to be fine at home.
Absolutely.
You don't have to worry about, heck, man, we'll go get some ice cream,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
We'll get some ice cream and we'll talk about it and see how, But
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love seeing too that. So there's a couple of jiu-jitsu guys that I follow on social media. Tom DeBlass is one. He has an anti-bullying program. So you see these videos going around of these kids that get bullied, getting beat up on the bus or, getting just jumped in the bathroom for no reason. Because there's a trend where kids are just beating kids up for no reason and filming it and then putting it out on social media, trying to get likes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So he'll see this stuff or hear about this stuff, and he'll track down the person that got abused and offers them free jiu-jitsu classes on how to protect themselves and, how to use jiu-jitsu to prevent bullying and defend themselves. And then also the Gracies, Henner Gracie, Gracie University. You've probably watched some of his videos. He does the same thing. And, man, I started teaching some homeschool kids jiu-jitsu once a week over here at the church. And, not that any of them are getting bullied or anything like that, but my heart is to keep those kids safe.
Yeah.
Because, whether we like it or not, I mean, both of my kids have been homeschooled at some point in their school career, right? John Asher was homeschooled for a little while. Parker is homeschooled right now. And, it's the best option for us because I don't trust the public school system. And if you send your kids to public school, I mean, that's totally up to you. But I just don't trust it,
No, you have every reason to not trust it, man.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of. I could walk down the hallway and listen to what they're teaching, man, and it's just, man, it's just rotten.
Yeah, and you hear so many, things coming out of public schools about this, especially with what we're going through right now with all this sexual orientation and gender dysphoria and stuff. I just can't imagine my kid being in a school where I have no control over what they're learning, and then they're getting force-fed this garbage and to basically brainwash them into believing this stuff. And, I mean, anyway, that's another subject for another day maybe, but, I mean, on the flip side of that, homeschooling brings its own problems, and a lot of the there's a lot of judgment that goes along with kids that are homeschooled and ideas about kids, being nerdy and antisocial and all that stuff with homeschool. But, I want my kids and their friends to be able to defend themselves if people are treating them poorly because of that. I don't want them to have those thoughts. I don't want them, because these kids are smart. Yeah. I mean, so smart and great mannered and loving kids. They're not, what the stereotype is. You know what I mean? And, man, I just want to protect them. I mean, that's my whole thing is I want to make sure these kids are ready.
And what I've learned is, you go through school, you got friends, you got cliques, you got things, you got different groups of kids, and they hang out with each other. And I've learned that the instant you walk across that stage and graduate, none of that matters anymore.
No.
Man, just like nobody cares if you play football or if you're the smartest kid in class or what you wear.
Yep.
How your hair is fixed. Nobody cares.
No.
Nobody cares after that.
No.
But yeah, that's the most important thing that as old gorillas like us.
Yeah.
The most important thing that we can do on the mat is support these kids.
Yeah.
Support these young kids, even some of these young men,
Yeah.
And support them or young ladies.
Yeah.
Anybody, and they can come up, they can be confident so that way they can take the values of jiu-jitsu and they can become better fathers, better citizens, And that's the most important thing that we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that back up too with the young women and the ladies. I think and I've talked about this multiple times. It keeps coming up. I talked about it with Sel whenever she was on there. Now she's Professor Selena Bador.
Yeah.
I talked about, women and self-defense and being able to stand up for yourself, being able to defend yourself. And, I talk about it with Natalie a lot. And it's so important, but I think women and girls and young ladies are so apprehensive about getting on the mat because it is up close and personal. It is right in your face. It is. You do get in some uncomfortable positions and things like that. I've been trying to get my wife to do jiu-jitsu so she can learn some basics to defend herself. Man, I think it's really, really important. I think because here's the thing: the guy, the boyfriend, the husband, they're not always going to be there.
No.
And if you're not carrying a gun
Yeah. Yep.
and you don't know jujitsu or you don't know some type of martial arts to protect yourself, or you're not carrying a knife, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yep.
What are you going to do? Are you just going to become a victim? I don't advocate that. I don't want that to happen to anybody that I know. You know, so the most important, arm yourself. You know, with either a gun or some type of pepper spray or whatever, or learn how to do jujitsu.
Yeah.
Do something. If you're a woman and you're listening to this, man, protect yourself.
Yeah.
Do so. If you're not prepared, prepare yourself. Go out and get you a thing of pepper spray. Go out and get yourself a gun. Go out and get yourself a taser. Learn jujitsu. Go train somewhere. Learn how to do something.
Especially in this world, man, you hear stories all the time.
Yeah.
You know, of a young woman or a woman, a teenager, coming up missing or getting hurt or something, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, and I get it. They're apprehensive about getting in the mat and getting close to people and having people in their space, you know? But they don't necessarily have to roll with a dude, so they can go in there and roll with whoever they want to roll with, you know. And at our school, there's plenty of ladies in there that'll roll with them.
Yep.
And they'll that understand why they're apprehensive
Yeah.
to rolling, you know. So I mean, shoot, man, I support them, you know.
Yeah. 100%. Well, here's a case in point, right? So, Professor Bador, she just got her black belt about a month ago.
Yep.
I rolled her Wednesday night, right? And I've rolled with her, I don't know, 100 times, at least 100 times. And there's been times in the past when she was a lower rank where I would have trouble. I would have trouble, but I was able to do, I was able to submit her, right?
Yeah.
Or get her, or hold her and be in control of her. But Wednesday night, we were over in Burleson, and there was 6 black belts on the mat in Burleson. 6. I've visited a bunch of different schools traveling around with work and stuff. I bring my gi with me. I've never seen a jiu-jitsu school with 6 black belts on the mat at one time. And there was also 3 brown belts up there with the black belts. So, 9 high-rank, deadly killer people. And one of those was Professor Bador, Professor Sell. And so my goal was like, I'm going to try to roll with as many of these black belts as I can as a purple belt and see what I can pick up from these guys, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because there's so much knowledge from these people. And so I rolled with Professor Sell. And usually I'm able to kind of, do some things. She was on me like white on rice.
Yeah.
I mean, she defended everything I threw at her. I could not get control of her very well at all. I mean, everything I tried to get her in, she slipped out of. And at one point, I looked up, and I was like, daggum, Sel. I said, did they give y'all like some kind of infusion or something when you get that black belt? Because this is a different roll than what I've rolled with you in the past. Yep. I mean, there was like a whole nother level. I mean, I just rolled with her like a couple months ago when she was a brown belt, and it was different just in a couple months. I don't know what changed, but something changed.
Right.
And but she's much smaller than me, right? I probably have, probably close to 80 pounds, if not more, over her, and she was very evasive, and I couldn't catch her. I couldn't catch her. I mean, I just couldn't. It was like kind of silly.
I would like to have seen that.
It was crazy. It was crazy. I was like befuddled. I couldn't figure it out. So, I mean, for someone that small to be able to evade every attempt of me trying to control her or submit her, I mean, that goes to show you right there how the power of jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with Landon. Landon, I outweigh Landon by probably 60, 70 pounds. Her son, he's a black belt, and I can't catch him. I mean, every now and then I might be able to catch him a little bit, but how much is that him with his foot off the gas a little bit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And me giving 100% and he's going 70%.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So these littler people, that's the power of little people killing people that are big and ugly like me and you. Some old gorillas.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's cool, man. It's cool. If you're a woman, you're a man, you're a kid, whatever, you need to get on the mat because it's a superpower I heard Joe Rogan say about this. He said, or not Joe Rogan, it was Jocko.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is a legitimate superpower. It's probably the only superpower that's out there. If you can learn some jiu-jitsu, you can do some things that you would only see a superhero doing.
Yeah. Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for you as a blue belt, you know, what do you think is the most important thing for somebody this our age, right? An old gorilla, never trained jiu-jitsu, you know, what would you say to them to get them on the mat? What, you know?
Man, just just be brave, you know? Just show up, take a free class, and just get on the mat and be humble. Be humble, man, because you're going to get schooled, but just be brave and be humble and just take that first step on the mat, and you'll fall in love with it, you know. And those guys out there on the mat, you'll be surprised, or the girls too, though you'll be surprised how they'll take care of you.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to just, oh, look at that, this guy's a new guy. Let's see how quick we can get rid of this guy, you know. They're not going to do that. What they're going to do is they're going to be like, you know, they're going to kind of reflect on what they did when they first started as an old man.
Yep.
You know, going through a midlife crisis or something, you know,
Yeah.
like, man, I want to do something. Let's do jiu-jitsu. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, they've been there,
Yep.
and they're going to support you every way they can for you to be successful there.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I mean, you know, that's what I would tell them. I
Yeah.
say, man, just show up, wear some shorts, and
Just get out there.
get out there, man. You take that first step. You make a couple classes. You'll calm down. You'll melt, and you'll be glad you did it.
Yeah, 100%.
Just the hardest part is just getting there.
Just
you know?
getting there, yeah. Just showing up.
Yep.
And that's why they say the white belt is the hardest belt to get because so many people just don't show up. They just don't show up. You got to show up to get that white belt.
It's tough. It's not hard. It's not easy. But like the school that we go to, you know, everybody that trains there is moving at their own pace. You know, some students they learn real quick. You know, some students it takes them a little bit longer, and that's perfectly okay. You know, especially with me, man. It's a slow process. You know, it's it's like trying to walk a mile an inch at a time. You know,
Yeah.
You know, so you just be humble, be brave,
Yeah.
just show up. You know, we'll take care of you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we'll
Exactly.
take care of you.
Exactly. Well, I tell you, man, you've become really salty in the last few months. I mean, I remember when you got your blue belt and you were almost a little bit embarrassed from what I remember. You just
Yeah.
you didn't feel like you were ready for it. You didn't think that, you know, because you couldn't roll with me and Adrian like you wanted to, you're a little frustrated and you're like, I don't know if I deserve this. I can't hang with you guys,
Yeah.
you know? But now let's fast forward 6 months. How long you had your blue belt? 6 months?
Something like that.
About
Yeah.
6 months,
Yeah.
8 months. When I roll with you, I can't. Seriously, I said that a few minutes ago. I can't really take my foot off the gas with you, because if I do, you're going to be on top of me, and I'm going to be trapped, and I'm not going to get out from underneath you, because you've picked up some knowledge and some
Yeah.
technique in the last 8 months that have made you into a different jiu-jitsu player than you were when you were a green belt for sure.
Well, you know, like you said, man, it's starting to click a little bit.
Yeah,
It's slow. It's real slow, but it's starting to click just a little bit. I'm starting to see not the next move, but the next 3 moves, 2 moves, you know, and the goal is to see the next 5 moves, you
Yeah.
know, and I'm trying man, I just show up.
Yeah.
Show up and work, man.
Yeah, and that's where it all comes together. Is when you're out there on that mat and you're rolling, you're putting the sweat in, you start seeing those things. That's one of the things that I struggled with too as a blue belt. Is like, okay, I know Americana, I know an arm bar, I know how to rear naked choke somebody, and I know how to do different reversals and different sweeps and things like that. But how do I put all this stuff together? Right?
Yeah.
You've got this 1,000-piece puzzle sitting out on the table.
But you got nothing there, you know?
But you can't find out how to put the edges together. You can't find out, where the pieces in the middle go. But now, as I'm in a purple belt, and getting ready to start moving through purple belt and getting into brown belt, it's like I can start seeing that stuff, and seeing where those things interlock. Or even whenever the instructors are showing like the different technique that we're learning for the day, I see other techniques hidden in those techniques. Are you seeing that too?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I am. It's, I'm seeing like one or two moves ahead.
Yeah.
I still got some work to do. I still got to clean it up a lot,
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do before my next belt or my next stripe.
Yeah.
I'm about halfway to my first stripe,
Yeah.
and that's kind of my goal now is just clean it up,
Yeah.
start to see what's happening before it happens more,
Mm-hmm. Would you say that's the hardest thing that you've had to deal with your jiu-jitsu journey and getting up to blue belt?
Yeah, I mean, it was just slow for me from the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
It's just, when I got my white belt, I mean, I would try to learn something, and then I would just instantly forget it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do it enough. It's just, I mean, I feel when I got my gold belt, I still felt like I was rolling like a white belt, and when I got my green belt, I felt like I was still rolling like
An orange belt?
an orange belt, and
Yeah.
I was just, that can be frustrating, but you know what? You just keep showing up. If you don't show up, you're not going to learn it,
Yeah.
But if you keep showing up, and you keep just be a sponge and learn, it'll happen.
Yeah.
For me, it's going to take a little longer than most people.
Yeah.
For someone else, it might happen very quickly, but that's my journey and that's their journey, and you just focus on your journey, and man, sooner or later, you're going to be a black belt. You're going to be one of those guys that walk in on the mat, and you're like, you kind of give them, hey, what's up,
Yeah.
So it's just, you just got to stick with it, be patient, be humble.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
I think you bring up an important point too, because I think a lot of people get hung up on comparing themselves to other people.
I did that for a long time.
Yeah.
It took a long time for me to stop doing that.
Mm-hmm.
My idea of a blue belt is the way you rolled as a blue belt, and I that's what I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
and that it just, like I said, it takes longer for me.
Yeah.
And I'll get there, but that's not part of my journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not part of my journey to be a good jiu-jitsu martial artist.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I remember I was having a pity party one time, and I was talking to Professor Donnie, and I was telling him, when am I going to get better? Essentially, is what I was saying. When am I going to get better?
Yeah.
And he stopped and he kind of looked at me. He said, "Who are you comparing yourself to?" I was like, I look at you. I look at this blue belt, and I look at that blue belt, and this person over here that's a green belt, and man, they're just destroying me. And this is when I was like probably a green or belt or something like that before I got blue. And he's like, well, let me ask you this. Could you beat up John that came in here 2 years ago? I was like, yeah, I could beat up me from 2 years ago. He's like, okay, why are you comparing yourself to these other guys? Why aren't you comparing yourself to your journey that you've been on since you got here?
yeah,
You know,
man,
have you grown? Have you gotten better? do you see improvement in yourself? And I was like, well, yeah, I do. He's like, all right, so let's concentrate on that. And let's not look at other people and see what they're doing. Let's concentrate on what you're doing.
That's exactly. You're absolutely right about that. And it took me a long time to learn that, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what I focus on. I focus on what on my learning, you know.
Yeah.
If you do that, man, you'll be successful.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, I would mop the floor with a white belt me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell, I'd wipe the floor with a white belt you know.
Hey, I wouldn't go that far. Come on now.
Yeah. It's just, but yeah, I mean, you know, it's just fun, man. I enjoy the company. I enjoy the fellowship, man. You know, it's a good culture.
Yeah.
All those guys we get together, all those girls we get together, and we talk, and
Yeah.
you know, we mess with each other, and if you're in a bad mood, I mean, we generally care about each other, and you know, and it's that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I show up every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, because we're a team, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a brotherhood for sure. It's a brotherhood. You know, I think one thing that really helps too is a lot of the people that are a part of our class, right, at our academy are believers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we all have, I don't know, that humbleness, that want to get along with each other, help each other. You know, we all try to take care of each other. You know, we're all part of the same brotherhood.
Well, it's,
you know?
it's a spirit of service. You know, how can I serve you to make you a better at what you want to do? You know.
Yep.
How can I be of service to you? To I mean, anything in life, you know.
Yep.
Not just jiu-jitsu, you know, or just anything you're dealing with. I mean,
Yeah.
How can I help you?
Yeah.
How can I
Exactly.
help you?
Yeah. It's just it's a great place to train for sure.
Yeah, man.
So, hey, if you guys are wanting to train, you want to get into jiu-jitsu, and you've been listening to this, and you're like, okay, where's this place at? It sounds fantastic. It is. It's a great place. It's a really good place, family-owned in Fort Worth, Texas. There's 10 locations throughout the Metroplex. We happen to both train in Fort Worth at TXBBA Fort Worth over off Overton Ridge in front of the Walmart. And we train on Mondays at 7:45 p.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:15, and then currently we have day classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays that start at 11 a.m. And man, we'd love to see you on the mat. If you haven't trained and you want to train, come see us. I mean, we're there all the time.
Man, we'll look out for you, you know. And man, it's a great atmosphere there. It's just about learning. It's just a bunch of people on the mat wanting to learn. That's all it really is, you know. And man, we'd be glad to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cool, man. Anything else you want to talk about?
That's about it. I mean, you know, we covered a lot right there.
We covered a lot. Awesome, man. Well, hey, thanks for coming on the podcast with me. Great conversation, man. I love you like a brother.
Man, me too. Same here, man. You know, you need anything, man, you shoot, man, like 3 o'clock in the morning, call me.
Oh yeah, 3 o'clock a.m., man. Call me. I'll be ready.
I'll show up. I'll be like, what the hell's what's wrong with you calling me at 3 o'clock in the morning? But I'll be there. I'll be there, you know.
Back at you, man.
You
Well,
know?
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for joining me on this. And
you just need someone to come on here, man. You let me know. I got all kinds of life lessons I can share with you. You know?
Well, we'll definitely do it again, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. That sounds good.
All right, man. Old Gorilla out.
All right.